I want to tell you a story. This young man, let's call him Richard. Richard got married about a year ago to his sweetheart, to his love, Rachel, just about a year ago. And everything was fine. Everything was beautiful for the first few months. It was just basically an extension of the wild romantic friendship that they had enjoyed for 2 years before they got married. But then 8 months into their marriage, all of a sudden, it was as if a cloud just came over the house, and they found themselves getting easily irritated and easily upset with each other. You know how it is. Before marriage, everything is sweet because there's still that barrier between you. You're still not together yet. And so every moment is precious. And then all of a sudden now you're married and you're living in the same house. You wake up together, you sleep together, you do everything together. And one day the magic just seems to be fading. Like, for some people it happens early, some people it happens much later, but everybody can attest to the fact that sometimes all that romance and all that fuzzy feeling in your belly just disappears, and then you suddenly realize you're living with another human being in the same house. You're sharing a life with that person, and you begin to miss your moments of being single. You know, sometimes that's all it is. People just miss being single, miss being able to be free to do whatever it is they want to do without anybody questioning them, looking at them, or feeling awkward in anybody's presence. And yeah, so you get to this moment and suddenly realize that the other parts of this person that you haven't seen, or that you never knew, or that you had a hint of, but now it's raw and in your face. Maybe the way they lie down on the bed and the way they sleep, the way they take care of the house, and all of these things begin to irritate you and upset you. And maybe the way the person talks to you sometimes and responds to you sometimes, you're just not feeling it anymore. And so this was what was going on with Richard and Rachel. And they started having fights, little arguments in the morning when going off to work. And on this particular day, Richard was really fed up, was really upset. They had a nasty argument before he left the house in the morning. He slams the door shut, walks off, gets into the car, drives off to work. And Rachel sits down also, wondering what's going on. And so Richard is at work, distracts himself with work all day, with friends and colleagues, with banter and office laughter and all of those things. And then it's time to go home, and all of a sudden that cloud of awkwardness and heaviness just descends upon him. And while he's packing his bags to go home at the end of the workday, you know how Google Photos, I don't know if you use Google Photos, but you know how sometimes they curate pictures from a particular moment in time. Sometimes like it's an anniversary, like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Or sometimes they make a collection of photos about you and a particular person, especially if that person pops up in your photos quite a bit. And Facebook does that as well. And so just as, he was browsing through Google Photos, trying to put things in his bag to go home, and then Google Photos now begins to show him like a carousel of pictures, a group of pictures of him and his wife before they got married, or just before they got married, at the peak of their romance, the peak of their relationship. Collection of photos from good times that they had together, going out traveling, going for vacations and doing stuff together. And then all of a sudden, all the anger and the bitterness and the irritation just melts away into a smile on his face, and he just gets a glimpse, flashbacks of those beautiful moments. And then all of a sudden he's reminded about why he loves his wife and all the beautiful things about her that got him attracted to her in the first place, and all the fantastic moments they've had together as a couple. All of those things come flooding back, at the sight of that photograph, at the sight of those pictures. And everything just changes all of a sudden. His mood, his spirits is lifted, his mood is changed, and all of a sudden he can't wait to go home and give his wife a hug and a kiss. And that's exactly what he does. He gets back home, walks in the door. The wife is expecting, a grumpy husband, still angry from the morning's argument. And then he just walks up to her, gives her a long, warm hug and they kiss, and everything becomes beautiful. And she asks him what happened, what changed. And, they sit down together and go through the pictures and they laugh and they smile. And that's the power of a photograph. That's the power of photography. That's the power of images, because like they say, an image is worth 1,000 words. This was one of the stories that I came up with based on real life. You would agree with me, because these are things that happen every day. That is the power of photograph, because a photograph is able to create a slice in time, and captures everything that happened within that time. So what you're looking at in the frame is not just the picture. It's not just the photo. It's not just the subject in the frame, whether it's a human being or something, or a snapshot of an event. But there's so much more in there, If you are there especially, it helps you to remember the emotions that were present at that moment in time. It helps you to remember the conversations. It sometimes reminds you about things like the music that you guys loved listening to as a couple. It reminds me of the places you love to go. It reminds you of the places you met and used to meet. It reminds you of the late night calls and driving her home and dropping her off. And That is the beautiful thing about photographs. I'll tell you another story. So there you are seated, you're having a hard time relating with your parents. You're an adult now, you've grown up, you're no longer under their care. In fact, many years have passed by, and then you seem to be struggling, because maybe in the past your parents have made quite a lot of mistakes raising you up. You feel that they've been harsh. You've had reason to doubt whether they really loved you. You've had reason to even doubt if you are truly their child. Maybe all of a sudden the conversations you have with your parents are always filled with anger and pain and bitterness and tears, and you can't seem to forgive them for certain things. And the relationship with your parents is just not so rosy anymore. And maybe something happened in the past that has scarred you, in terms of how you relate to your parents. Maybe there are certain things your mother has said to you and your father has said to you, and you're struggling to find peace with them because you don't want to live in bitterness. You don't want to have this hurt against them. Or maybe you're just flat out angry with them and you borderline hate your parents. These are real issues, man. These are things that happen. And one day you go back to your family home, you're just browsing through old stuff, and then you come across an old family album when you were like 3 or 4 and your parents were young and handsome and beautiful and full of energy. And then you see a picture of your dad throwing you in the air, his eyes looking up at you with love and delight, happy to be throwing you in the air, happy to be relating with you as a father. And you see that emotion, you feel that energy, you feel that vibe. All of a sudden your mind is transported back to that moment in time many years ago, and you're a child again, and you feel your father's love, and you can see that your dad really doesn't hate you, your mom really doesn't hate you. Or maybe you see a picture of your mother smiling at you, posing you in front of a camera for your 10th birthday or your 8th birthday, laughing with you. And all of a sudden you realize that I don't think my mom really hates me. Or even if it looks like it's that way now, you suddenly remind yourself about the fact that your parents actually truly started out loving you, caring for you. They brought you into this world. They were committed to you. They were there for you. They were happy to have you. You were a source of joy in their life. You get all of that just from looking at the picture, and then all of a sudden your heart melts towards them, and you choose to forgive them, and you say, yes, I know that my parents didn't plan to treat me this way. It wasn't part of their original plan. Maybe life just happened to them, and based on these pictures, you see that there was a time, even though that time was fleeting, even if it's so far away and it's barely in your memory, but this photograph has helped you, has transported you back to that time, and all of a sudden you feel that love. You feel that your parents are really there for you. So that's the power of photographs. That's the power of images. I was just sitting down right here in my studio, and I just started really thinking about this. I came across a saying that says that a photograph is a return ticket to a moment in time that is otherwise gone. You know how you book a ticket and you have a return ticket. So, even if you're traveling, you're coming back, and if you didn't have a return ticket, there's no way of going back, right? So a photograph is like a return ticket. It helps you to go back to those times, those very important, crucial times in life. And, the stories I've shared today are more personal stories. These are things that people really don't talk about because they're personal. Let's not talk about how important photographs are to, NGOs and corporate organizations and world history and, storytelling and ability to capture minds and capture audiences and influence thinking. No, we're not going that deep. We're just talking about personal things, because who knows, there might be somebody out there, struggling in a relationship right now, maybe a marriage relationship or with their parents or siblings. And, sometimes you need to just go back and try to see if you have pictures of the past and go through those pictures and really sink yourself into the memories that those pictures bring, especially if those memories were good memories. Hopefully they're good memories. And then, so that's why it's really good to take pictures all the time. And this is probably one of the reasons why I take pictures all the time. I have a very personal reason also for wanting to take pictures all the time. Sometimes you get to see that the time you have with people is so transient and temporary, especially when you lose somebody very surprisingly or suddenly, like unexpectedly, and then you find out that you don't even have any pictures of yourself and the person, nothing to hold, nothing to be able to capture the memory of that person adequately. Nothing does that quite like pictures. And so now the person is gone and there's no way you can take those pictures ever again. So it's so important, So I don't know, this is just unscripted and just try to put it out there. The whole reason of doing this video is probably just to share with you, the value that I place on pictures, the value that I think we should all place on pictures. And hopefully there's a part of me that hopes that maybe somebody out there, if you have a problem in a relationship right now, you're struggling to, have a good relationship with your wife or your girlfriend or your parents or your siblings, maybe you could, try to cast your mind back to the good times. If there were good times that you guys had together, sometimes photos help us to remember these things. So you might just want to take a trip down memory lane browse through some old photos, especially if it's you and your wife. Browse through the photos of the two of you together when you were dating, when you just met each other, when you both of you were skinny and ugly, before all the money came in and you started cleaning up, jokes. But cast your mind back to those times and browse through those photographs, pull them up, go on Facebook, look many years ago and just bring up those photos and look at them and smile. Allow those photos to channel their energy into you. Allow those photographs to speak to you. Cast your mind back. Remember the good things about these people in your life that you're having difficulty with right now. Remember the good things about your parents. Remember the good things about your family. Remember the good things about your loved one, your wife, your husband. And let go of the bitterness, let go of the hate, let go of all of that. This is what photographs can do. This is the power of photos. And so I just decided to just do this freestyle talk on photos and encourage you to get snapping. Anytime you find yourself anywhere, having a good time, having a good experience, pick up your phone and take a picture, right? If you have your camera with you, pick your camera and take a picture. Capture every moment that is beautiful in life. Capture them in frames, in photographs, whichever way you can. These things are assets in the future. They will be able to convey the power and the love, the emotion, and all the beautiful things at the time that you took those pictures. You'll be able to convey them to generations ahead. Your children will be happy that you took those pictures, because in the future they'll be able to look back and remember their past and remember their family, their upbringing, especially the good times. Of course, I'm sure people don't really go around taking pictures of bad times. Like you had an argument with somebody, nobody goes around taking pictures when you're angry and upset. So most times the pictures are going to be pictures of good times that you guys have had together. When you went out to the mall, you went out on vacation, you went out to the beach with your kids. So you may share the pictures, you may not share the pictures, you may keep them privately, you may want to make them public. It doesn't matter, but those pictures are there. And these children, when they grow up and they see these pictures, honestly, they will bless you for it, because it's just a beautiful way to carry the family along, to bring everybody together, to let the roots and the bonds between you grow deep. Photographs, very powerful. So, just food for thought. Think about it. If you're not in the habit of taking pictures of your good times of your family and your loved ones, today, make a decision that for the rest of this year, you're going to take a picture every day. Picture of yourself at work, picture of your food, a picture of your family, your friends, everything. Just take a picture every day. Take a picture of something. Capture the moments, freeze the time. Times may change in the future, and all you have to look back at are beautiful pictures of your life that will make you smile, that will make you happy, that will heal any hurt, that will help you to forgive yourself and other people. There's so much photos can do. I think I've said enough, so I'll end the video right here. Thanks for listening to my story, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.